particular marches for particular things. But this general idea to march for everything doesn't make necessary. So I think certain remedies for certain problems have to fit what is happening that you're going for. I think that's where we get lost, and that's where the
I
emotion
think
comes from.
I think boycotts can be effective if we actually boycott, as opposed to just we're going to give it up for a day or two. We have to have a reason for it, and you have
That's what I'm
to
saying.
like right. So you have to you have to be willing to sacrifice whatever it is for as long as it takes to meet your whatever your objective is. And we
I'm
don't.
okay
That's
with
the part where
boycotting.
we lost that.
I'm okay with boycotting, but my
Yeah.
point is that it's like the why. Why are we boycotting? Why don't we use that energy to do something else? So, for instance, when Kamala ran, when she started her campaign, I'm not saying all the dollars in her campaign were black, but what I'm saying is that lots of black people, and Savina, put money in, and she raised a monumental amount of money in a short amount of time. So my point is that there's this effort that goes into boycotting, the effort that goes into marching. Why don't we use the effort for something else? I think it's because we're so used to doing the same playbook. And I think that ultimately the stuff that's ahead for black people, economically, educationally, I think we are kind of sleep. We're gonna sleep on it. And I think until we keep having these type of conversations, um, I don't think things will change. And I think again, all of us on the panel, I believe, are parents, right? Everybody's parents. So we all have children. So again, it comes down to what are you going to tell your children? That's what type of time I'm on. What are you going to tell your children? Because and how are you gonna advocate for them to move in this world as far as what they're going to do? Because oh, oh, okay. So that's kind of what I'm getting at is that what are the modes of how we're going to move our community forward? And that's what I think. We can deal with the past. We can talk about the past. We need to past, but I think where we lack education on the now and the future. We totally lack that. We're totally sleeping, in my opinion, and that's the part I think we need to put maximum amount of effort on. So that's why I like
That
to
goes
get
back to my
amongst
point
people.
about willful ignorance. We don't. Some of us don't want to be educated on this kind of stuff. They just don't want to do the work that it takes to learn about these things. And that's the sad part. You can't fix them people. You know what I mean? Like they just have no desire to learn about any of this stuff we're talking about.
I mean, that's
And
true. That's
they're
true. That's
willing. They're
definitely true.
willingly. Um, I, what's the word? They're just willing to play this game and complain about how things are, as opposed to doing the work it takes to make any change. It's so they're so comfortable in this space that they just won't make the effort.
Can you
Because
Or
hear
there's
me okay?
responsibility. There's responsibility there.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
yes,
There's responsibility there is my point. There's responsibility as far as I don't have all the answers, right? But I think that that's what it's about is about brainstorming with people who are of adult age and who are mature. I don't have all the answers, but the reality is there is a responsibility to change the trajectory mentally, I think.
yeah.
Because
And and
if
I
we don't change the trajectory mentally, we can't really do anything. We can sit back and we can kind of play on what our ancestors did in the '60s and play on that forever and kind of feel like, well, I'm going to do what they did. And you want to adore and respect and acknowledge the people who came before us. But I think a lot of our ancestors will look at Black America as a whole now and be like, word, that's what you guys are doing? Really? You guys think
Yeah.
you're us? You think you're doing what we
Right.
did? I don't think so.
So, um, I want to. All right. So, part of one of the issues that we have is we've adopted we've adopted our enemies. Um, what's the word? Well, help me with the words. I'll just explain what I mean. We were more
Hmm.
community minded. We were more about we, us, and
Right.
our. And now we've adopted individualism.
Mm-hmm.
We're so
Yes.
much
Mm-hmm.
me,
Yeah.
myself, and I. The other thing we've adopted more, you know, in this capitalist society, our love for money, and a lot
For
of
sure.
things have preceded and overtook principles and this, that, and the other. Whereas, like now, not only is it cool to be a nigga, like we throw out the N word every other in a darn sentence, but it's cool to be a sellout because I'm chasing the bag. And
Right.
it's cool now to do that. And then, and if we call somebody out who is selling out, we're called now a hater. So some of
Right.
these, some of these wounds are self-inflicted. It's almost like the meme, the
Mm-hmm.
person riding a bicycle and then they put the darn stick in it and they, and they fall over. Some of this we're doing to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, but similar. Just to answer for those who are unaware, I mean, why we are now perpetuating actions, images, etc., so on that are negative in nature is because um, part of it is it's profitable now. There's it's it's
Absolutely.
it's more profitable again when you start thinking as an individual. Um, it's profitable to be the Cardi B's and all these sexy whoever's and all this other stuff as and it's we used to correct one another, as a community we would call us each other out, and now there's no
Right.
shame anymore. There's no shame, like, so what if I'm out the house with a bonnet and acting like an idiot and I don't do my homework and I get all F's. It's cool to be ignorant. It's cool to not be smart. And it's I remember falling victim to the peer pressure of I didn't want to be seen as the smart guy. It was almost,
Mm-hmm.
and so it is conditional based on, I don't want to say that we're broken, but we have unresolved trauma because we it can be, you know we have to recognize that's what it is and then fix it accordingly. So we have to take charge of our communities, much like how the Black Panther Party did, and create programs and do things for ourselves. Instead, like the Black Panther Party, created the social programs like SNAP. We created
Right.
those things, and then the government followed
Right.
suit. We, made sure, women, children, etc., so on, had the food and whatnot. We implemented these certain things, and we are able and capable of doing that. We see how much money goes to the black churches, for example. We see, you know, right.
Mucho
So
dinero.
there's a that's we have the ability. We don't have sense of direction and what to do with the money and how to do and things of that nature. And part of that is, again, social media has a way of exacerbating our ills and our problems. So and
Sure.
part of social media and internet is we no longer have the patience to boycott for 381 days like the Montgomery boycott. We ain't doing that. It's 365 in a year.
Right.
You want us to do more than that? 380,
Hmm.
381 minutes, I got you. But 381 days, nah, bro. I ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything has accelerated so much, and our patience has reduced. Try it if you don't think so, folks. And think of, for those who are listening in, ask yourself back in the day, before cell phones and this, that, and the other, you had to wait for somebody to get home and maybe get to the answer machine before they got to call you or what have you. You
Right.
know, now
That's
you send somebody a text, and if they don't get back to you within 60 seconds, you're like, yo, bro, where's the answer to my question?
you tripping.
So,
You tripping.
Right.
Right.
so with that,
Right.
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 it's the instant gratification and the need for that with everything, like with people going to, finding jobs. It's like, I've been on this job for 2 weeks. Where's my promotion? Bro, what, what are you talking about? You know, so,
Nothing
so
there
like,
yet.
right, like we don't, we don't have the patience to put in the work that's necessary anymore. And sadly, I don't see the movements, barring what like DJ said, something drastic happening. I don't see the movements happening because movements take time. Movements take time. You got to build on this shit. So we need we need. I'm happy about Trump being in office because if somebody has to give us the nigga wake up call, maybe it has to be Trump. So that's the one benefit of that because every time a racist liberal gets in office, we're just lulled to sleep. Well, first of all, we don't even see the Democrats at all being racist. Like that doesn't happen. Racism was able to seep in every fabric of the society, from labor, law, banking, real estate, etc. Everything except the Democratic Party, apparently. So